Welcome to Lane. I believe the class will start now. I'll be a little bit offline. I need to do something, but then my guy will take you guys today, and hopefully others will join before the end of the class. But if not, they will see the content on YouTube. The other time that you joined, it wasn't time yet, and I was not in a very conducive place to talk. Was why I didn't say anything. So see you guys later. So, Ola, it's over to you.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
So you are welcome. Yeah, you're welcome to this class. I'll be the instructor for today. My name is Ola. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So today we'll be doing data visualization in Python using matplotlib. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay, we can hear me. Okay, so today we'll be doing data visualization in Python using matplotlib. So first of all, I'm very sure every one of us is familiar with what data visualization is all about. So it's the representation of what information in a graphical method or a chart. So how can you do this type of visualization in Python? Before you can visualize data in Python, first of all, you have to have a library installed, the matplotlib library. So matplotlib library is what we are going to be using for today's class. How to use matplotlib to visualize data sets in Python. So today, let me just go over you. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so I'll just go straight to it now. Let me open a Jupyter notebook. So before you can use matplotlib for your data visualization, first of all, you must have the library installed in your Python. So if you are using let's say Python, you have to use pip install matplotlib, and if you are using an Anaconda distribution, you have to go to the Anaconda prompt and install using conda install matplotlib. I believe every one of us have matplotlib library in our listing already. So I'll go straight to it. So first of all, before I can do any visualization, I have to import the library. So for me to import the library, I have to run the code import matplotlib .pyplot as plt. So importing matplotlib.pyplot. This allows me to use the matplotlib library in visualizing data now. So I have to import it first. So other things I'll be importing also is NumPy, because I'll be creating some data sets. And NP. So the last one I'll be writing the code now is matplotlib. The last code I see here, the matplotlib in lines, allows you to see your visualization when you run your code in Jupyter Notebook. If you are not using Jupyter Notebook, you are using another IDE, you have to run the code plt.show for you to be able to see the chart. But if you are in Jupyter Notebook, if you run this matplotlib in line, whenever you run your code, it's going to print out your visualization for you just like that. So that's how we have to install it. So that's the library we'll be using for today. So let's go ahead. So first of all, there are two ways to create charts in matplotlib. Before you can create chart in matplotlib, there are two ways to create a chart in matplotlib. We have the functional method of creating charts, and we have the object-oriented method. So we'll be talking about these two types in today's class. We have the functional method and the object-oriented method.
Sorry, sir. Before you go further, please, are you recording this class?
You say what?
are you recording the class?
The class.
Yes,
Yeah.
are you
Yeah, the class is recorded.
thank you
It's
very
been,
much.
it's been recorded. Yes, it's been recorded. It's been recorded. So can I proceed now? Okay. Now, so I said we have the functional method and we have the what? We have the object-oriented method. First of all, what we're talking about first is the functional method. The functional method of what? Of plotting or visualizing data in what? In Python using matplotlib. So after installing my loading in the libraries I'm going to be using, the next thing is to get some set of data, the data that I'll be using for my work visualization. So let me just create a data here, x is equal to. So that's my everyone's. Okay, so these are the two data I'm going to be using for my visualization for today's class, the x and the y. So I've created the word an x variable and a y variable that we're using for what? For our visualization. So are you with me? Are we on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after creating the variable, now let's go to the functional method of what? Visualization. Okay. Okay. So, sorry. So, for us to plot any chart in Python using the functional method, there's a function known as the PLT. We import our matplotlib as well as PLT. So we'll be using the PLT function to do that. So if I want to plot a simple basic chart now, just a PLT.plot. I put in my x variable and my y variable that I'm plotting. The default type of chart for this PLT.plot is what? Is a line plot. So when you are plotting a line plot, line plot has to take into variable the values on the x-axis and the value on the y-axis. So I'm supplying my since I've created variable x and variable y, so I'm supplying my x variable and y variable. So when I run this now, you see where I got a simple visualization. This is a basic visualization in Python using matplotlib, using the functional method. Are you getting me now? So the next one now is how to create multiplot. If I want to create multiplot on a single canvas now, this is why I just created as a single basic plot. So if I want to create a multiplot on a single canvas, how do I do that? Using the functional method. What I need to do is just write PLT subplot. In this subplot, the argument that the subplot takes in is what? The number of rows and the number of columns. So first of all, I have to state the number of rows that I want to created in this canvas. Number of rows is, let's say, is equal to 1. Number of columns is equal to 2. And the other one is the chart that I'm on currently. So I'll just say So if I run something like this, plt dot plot x comma y. So I want to change the color of this chart now. So I can state the color using the first letter of each color. So let's say I wanted to use red here. I'll put red in quotes, semicolon red. These arrows signify that I'm choosing the red color. So I go to the second plot. So plt subplot. So, plus number. So I'll use variable x here, variable y. But in this case, I'm going to change the color. I'm using blue color here. The line is going to be a blue color. So okay. Oh, sorry, it's a mistake here. One color. So you can see now I have two charts in the same canvas. These are to create two charts in a multi-plot on the same canvas using the functional method in Python. Are you with me?
Yes.
Hello. Are you getting me? Okay. All right. So now that's it. So after creating the chart, you have to label the x-axis, the y-axis. How do I label my chart? Adding a title to my chart, adding the x-axis label and y-axis label using the functional method of plotting data in Matlab. So after creating this thing, if I want to add a chart now, so what I need to do, I want to add an axis name now. So for the first one, let me go back to this code now. Adding the axis name, I'll just say plt dot x label for the x-axis, put it in hex. And for the y-axis, plt the y label, put it in quotes around this. And I want to add a title. Let me add a title as plt the title. That means the title of the chart. So I can just call this one chart 1. Chart 1. So if I run this now, you can see changes as affected. The x-axis has been labeled, the y-axis has been labeled, and the title has already been added also. I guess that's just how to create a simple plot in Matlab using the functional method. And for the other one too, that's how to create this. Now the second one is object-oriented method. Object-oriented method will create chart in Matplotlib. In object-oriented method, we are going to instantiate or create an object figure. So we have to create a figure first. After creating the figure, then we now call all the method and attributes of the object that we created. So we have to create an object first. That's why we call it object-oriented method. So create an object and call of an attribute or method from the object we created. So how do I do that first? So for a simple plot using the object-oriented method. So So object-oriented method. First of all, I have to create an object. I have to create an object, so I'll be using fig. So this object I'm using now, fig is equal to plt.figure. So I'm creating an object, fig, using the plt.figure. After creating the object, I have to set my axis. One thing about the object-oriented method is that you are in control of the axis. You can set your axis the way you want. I get it. So I'll be setting my axis for this one now. So if I set axis is equal to fig dot add underscore axis. So I'm calling the method underscore what? Add underscore axis to set my axis. So when you are setting the axis, your axis contains what takes in 4 parameters, and they have to be in what? In a list. So the first thing is what? Is the left. Is the left of what? Of the axis. So the range of the axis is between 0 and 1. So I'm going to be, for the left, I'm going to use 0.1, comma. The second one is the bottom. I'm using 0.1. The third one is what? Is the width of the chart. Width of the chart area. So the width of the chart, I'm using 0.8 for that. And the next one is what? The height of the chart. For the height, I'll also be using what? 0.8. After doing this, I can see the canvas created for me. 0.1 for the left hand of the what? Of the chart to the bottom, while the width is what? 0.8, and the height is what? Is 0.8. So after creating the object, from this object, then I can call the plot function. So axis dot plot into bracket my variable x, comma what? Comma y. So if I run this, you can see my what? The chart has been plotted in the what? In the axis I created. And you can play around the axis. For example, now if I change this width now to like say 0.5, and this one to another one to this one here to 0.5, see what it's going to do to the what? To the chart area. You see now it becomes smaller. Are you getting me now? So you be in control of your axis. You can determine the axis. You determine your axis. You can specify it to whatever you want. So in this case, let me just stick to, and the range of the axis between what? 0 and what? And 0 and 1 doesn't exceed 1. The minimum is 0, while the maximum is 1. So let me just stick to my 0.8 and 0.8 here. So let me run this. Do we get that?
Yes.
I can't hear you. What do you say?
I said yes, sir.
Okay. So let's proceed. Okay. Under this object-oriented method, so if there is a way you can create a multiplot just like a function method. So if I want to create a multiplot like this, more than one plot on a single canvas, I can also do it for this object-oriented method. So if I want to create a subplot in object-oriented method, so what I need to do is just, I'll use this tuple unpacking here now, fig, comma, what, axis is equal to plt dot subplot. So in this subplot, so I have to state the number of subplot I want in what, in matter of what rows and what column. So the number of rows I want is, let's say n rows is equal to 1, comma, n columns, the number of columns I want is equal to 2. So from this now, I've created what? I've created two plots on a single row. You know, two plot means like two columns. That's the way it is when when you're in data frame, rows and columns. So a single row and two columns. That means what? Two plots on a single row. So if I run this, let me call my chart of this now. To plot the first chart now, so I have to come here and use my subsetting, subsetting in pandas, using a square bracket to subset the axis, since I'm creating two axes. So I say axis, square bracket, 0. Axis, square bracket, 0. So I'm going to add the plot that I want. Let's say plot into brackets, my variable x, comma, y. Let me change the color. Let me change the color to, let's say, yellow now, this time, yellow. So that's for the first one. And for the second one, let me just use axis 1 for the second chart plot. Those plots into brackets, x again, comma what, comma y. And this time, let me just use red as a color. Those are the arguments. It takes in the x variable, the y variable. The third one is the color. Sorry, we have an error here. Okay. Okay, sorry. And row. What's the meaning of this? Okay, let me write it out here like this. 1, 2. Okay. Yes. Okay. I think I have an error here. Okay, so the subplot taking S. So sorry about that. So these are our axes now. Using what? These are our two charts on the same canvas. So we have the first one taking yellow and the second one. And you can play around this thing. You can create 3. If you want to create 3 subplots on a single canvas, what I need to do is just change this value here to 3. And in 3, I have to create my vector this in axis dot charts. And that will be taking index 2 dot plots. So let's say I state my variable x, variable y, and let me just use blue for this as a color. And you can see see our charts now. So that's how to create multi-plots on a single canvas using the object method in matplotlib. In this also, if you want to set your X label, Y label, so what you need to do is just, let's say for example now for the first chart, it's going to be a long code. Let me just, so the first one I can say, okay, axis, for the first one, 0, dot set let's go X label X, and this for this same one now, 0, set Let's go. So let me just give it name Y also. So if let me take title now. So 0. Chat 1. Chat 1. So if I run this, notice that the first chart is what? Is one that has what? A label x-axis and a label y-axis. Are you getting it now? That's how to add what? That's how to add the label to the what? To the x-axis and to the y-axis, and also what? Give it a chart title. So what I need to do for the, you want to do for the other chart like that. So I can just call the one for add this one too. So I'm going to add it, we added what for the first one, and like that for the other ones too. So that's what the X label, the Y label, and the what and the chart title. So are we okay on that? Are we cool on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, can I proceed? Do you have any question based on what we've done? So can I proceed?
No, sir, you can proceed, sir.
Okay, now the next one we're talking about now is fixed size. You know, whenever you are creating your chart, the fixed size is automatically just selected for you. But you can also what set your own figure size. What I mean by figure size is the size of the canvas. You can set it on your own. So for example, let me use my this fixed axis now for here. So if I come here, if I want to set my fixed size now, I'll take in fixed size. Okay, is equal to fixed size taking what? Taking a tuple. So and the first one is what? Is the width of the what of the figure. While the next value is what? Is the height of the figure. So if I said 12 by what? 12 by 12 is what? Is for the width of the figure. While the 4 is for the height of the figure. So I've changed the figure size from the default to what figure size now. So if I run this now, you can see my chart what? The size of my chart has what? Has changed. You can also what? You can also change the figure size for this one under the what? Under the subplots. So if I change something like come here, I put fixed size is equal to, put this in a tuple. Let's see, this one is 12 by 5 now. You can see the figure of the what, the size of the figure what increases. That's why you can that's how to change the fixed size of what of your charts. You can do that to whatever you want. You can change to any number you want. And our advice is just play around it to see how the things work. Just play around different figure sizes and see what it's going to give you. Now, so that's the two ways of creating what charts in matplotlib, the object-oriented method and the functional method. So depends on what you do, but I will advise most people use what the object-oriented method because it allows you to go to be in control of your charts. You set your chart title and everything you want to do, you are in control of everything. That's why so many people go for the object-oriented method, but you can also go for for the functional method. Now, what I want to talk about now is charts. So what we've been doing since is we've been line chart, and that's the default chart for the plot function. But we have so many charts in data visualization. You know, data visualization is a branch of this data analysis, and when you're trying to represent your information, you have to pick the appropriate chart for for the information. And we have different type of chart that we have. We have line charts, we have bar charts, we have histograms, we have box plots, we have line charts like what we are doing now, and we also have pie charts and many more like that. So the type of chart you choose is majorly dependent on the information you are trying to pass across. For example, now our line chart is majorly suitable for a time series type of data. Let's say I'm trying to plot, okay, what is the sales of what is our sales over maybe over the week or over the months or over the years. If you are trying to like do that type of chart, the appropriate type of chart is what is line charts. If I'm trying to see the trend of sales for a particular company over the years or over the months or over the weeks, I can't use bar charts, I can't use pie charts. I get me now, and I can't use Boxplot, another type of chart. So the appropriate type of chart for that one is line chart. So when you are visualizing your data, you must be able to pick what the appropriate charts, so as to what get the right information to the right audience. So now, how do we now? We have different type of charts. So I'm going to be showing us how to plot different type of charts here in what in matplotlib. So today we'll be talking about the scatter plots, how to plot the scatter plots, how to plot a bar chart, a pie chart, histograms, and a box plot. So let's get straight to it. So we all know that okay, the functions for creating what a line chart is what is plots. And you know, when you are plotting a line chart, it takes in two variables, like I said earlier, the y-axis, which is one the variable what for the x-axis, while the variable for the y-axis, you have to state it there explicitly, and when you run, it's going to plot it. So different type of charts now. Let's put so the first one we'll be looking at is scatter plots. So we'll be doing scatter plots. Scatter plot, what scatter plot does is just to like it measures the relationship between two variables. And when you are plotting a scatter plot, the two variable has to be numerical data. Are you getting me now? If I'm plotting a scatter plot, the x variable has to be numerical data, while the y variable has to be numerical data. You know what I mean by numerical data? Everyone?
It involves number.
Yeah, involves number. Yes, involves number. So that's that by numeric data. So for example, now I already created my x and y from the beginning of the code here. So it's a numeric data. I've created x and y, they are both numeric. So I can use it to plot a scatter plot here. So what I need to do, I'm using the functional method here now, but you can also use the other method. So plt dots for a scatter plot, the function is what scatter. Then we are using it for scatter plot. So I'm going to call it the argument. I'm going to pass in the argument, which is my x variable, comma my y variable. So when I run it now, you see this is my scatter plot. So the scatter plot, what that one is majorly telling me is the relationship between two variables, variable x and y. And this is my scatter plot. Majorly when you are plotting a scatter plot in what you use majorly is data frames. So probably you wanted to plot what you want to know the relationship between height and width now. I get me now whether they are correlated or so. A scatter plot measures a correlation between two numerical variables. So that's what it does. So let's say I wanted to know the relationship between my width and my height now. So the appropriate type of chart for that is scatter plot, because it measures relationship. Are you getting me now? So that's that about so the other type of chart that I'm going to be talking about is bar charts, and I think everybody is familiar with bar chart. It's very, very, very common. Bar chart. So how do we create bar charts here in Matplotlib? Bar chart is quite different from scatter plot. So for you to plot a bar chart, one of your data has to be categorical, while the other one has to be numerical. You know, understand what I mean by categorical data? An example of categorical data is gender. Are you getting me now? You know, we have male and female. Another one is let's say types of cars now. Let's say we have Mercedes Benz, we have Toyota, we have Range Rover. Those are what categorical data. What I mean by categorical data are qualitative data. Qualitative data, like name of the person, the categorical data. So for you to use to plot a bar chart, one of the data has to be numerical, while the other has to be has to be categorical. So for that now, I'm going to be creating, let me just create another data here. Let's say Z now. Z is equal to, let me just create a list of 1, 2, 3, 4. So now let's just use this one now. So let me create my categorical data. Let's say label now. So label now. So let's see. So So I've created my two variables now, to Z and what, and label. So for me to plot a bar chart now, so what I need to do is just call the function plt dot what, the bar, plt dot bar. So I supply my the first thing that it takes in is your what, is your numeric data. So I put in my Z, comma what, comma y, comma label. So it's label, not label. So you can see my what, you can see my my bar chart now. Sorry, wait, just a minute. Label should come first. So, yeah, this is good now. So the variable on the right, on my x-axis, that's the label. That's what comes first. You know, when you're plotting a bar chart, your variable, your categorical data will be on what? On the x-axis, while the numeric data will be what? On the y-axis. So these are the arguments that it takes in. It takes in what? The variable on the x-axis, followed by the variable on the what? On the y-axis. And you can see a bar chart now. Fair, good, very good, and what? And excellent. In real life, what you'll be using then is your column, maybe a column. If I want to like, if I want to see the difference between, okay, if I want to see the difference between age between two genders, like let's say male and female, I want to see the what is the age difference between male and female gender. I can use Subplot for that. I get me now. I can use Subplot for that. Another thing is we also have an horizontal bar chart. I think you've heard of that before. Horizontal bar chart. So if I want to like plot an horizontal bar chart here, so what I need to do is just plt dot bar h. So the h there stands for what? Horizontal. So what I need to put in is what? My label as usual, comma my z. And you can see it like this. These horizontal bar charts.
All right.
Yeah. So, and you can also change the colors too. So let's say you don't like the color now. I put the color, and I said you can write your color by just using the first letter of the color. So let me put this in. Let's say I choose this one to be red now. Sorry. Okay. So let's check the variable. So okay, there's no argument for color here. So that's about that. Now you can also set your artist title here. So for like the other one, I say plt dot plt dot x label x label. Okay. So give your X label what a name. So I can just give some category. So the name has to be in quotes. This is not, it has to be in quotes. For the Y label, I'll just give it okay, let me just say val. Let me just give it val. So if I run this now, you can see now my X axis is labeled as category, while my what? My Y axis is labeled as what? As value. So I can also add title to this now. So I want to do title, PLT, but title. Say use some bar underscore charts. So bar charts. You see now. And probably you like, I can increase the figure size of this canvas now. So if I want to increase the figure size, so what I need to do is just come to the first line here, just plt.figure. Inside the figure, you put in your figure size and the tuple, that's fixed size. Fixed size is equal to, so we put that in tuple. So let's just use what figure size should I use? So let me just use 12 by 6 now. That's what the 12 is for the what? Is for the width, while the 6 is for the what? Is for the height of the figure. So when I run this now, you can see my chart now. Very, very, very large. So if I play around this figure now, let me just say I increase this one to like 16 now. 16 by, let's say by 7. Can see now. So you can just play around the figure size depending on what you want. And if I increase this one to 8, you see what I get now. So that's that. So if I come here also, I can do the same for this bar chart now. So for the horizontal bar chart, so I'll just come here PLT dot my Y label here. You know, my Y label here is the category. So Y label. So I'll put category. No, it has to be in quotes. Category. My X label now. Yes, that's X label. So I'll put that one as what? As values. So title. Title. So I'll put that one as what? Let me just say horizontal. Bar. So that's that about that. So if I run this now, you can see now I have my Y-axis label, my X-axis label, and my title words also label. So okay. So let's proceed now. Okay, I also want to increase the figure size for this one. So let me just, to increase the figure size for this first one, is just plt dot figure. I put fixed size here. Is equal to tuple now. Let's just say 16 by 8. So you see what I get here now. So this is my horizontal, the horizontal bar chart. So that's about bar chart. So let's try and create a pie chart too. I have to create a pie chart in matplotlib. So what you need to do is just use, we are still using the functional method is just plt.pie. So plt.pie. So I supply my variable, let me use Z. comma, the labels of the pie chart is still what? Let me see, use label I have here. So if I run this now, wait, what do I have here? Okay. Label we have. Okay, no. Let's see the arguments now. Okay, so for this one, the X is the Z, the label. Label is a what? Is an argument in pie chart. So I'm going to use a label. Label as an argument. Label is equal to, the label I want to use for this pie charts I've already created here as what? As label. So you see this one I created here label. So I just say labels is equal to what? Is equal to label. So if I run this now, you can see my what? You can see my pie chart. So let me suppress this out. Just put in column here. So you can see my what? You can see my pie chart now. You can see my pie chart, and that's how to create what? A pie chart. So if I increase the figure size of this now, I can start to increase the figure size just like the other ones, just to make it bigger. So plt.figure, fig size also. So let me just say 12 by 5 for this. So if I run this now, see now it gets bigger. So you can change it to whatever you want. You can just play around that for the figure size, for the fig size, and see what is going to come out. And you can try different data for that. So are we cool on this? Are we okay with this? Do you understand?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah, you get it. Okay, can I proceed now?
Yes, you can, sir.
Okay, all right. So that's we've talked about pie charts, we've talked about bar plots, horizontal bar plots, we've talked about line charts also. So now let's go to another type of chart that we have here. Common one. Okay, let's see. Let's go for histograms. Histograms. Histogram is majorly used in exploratory data analysis. Histograms is used majorly to see the distribution of your data. That's what histogram is used for. Histogram is not used for maybe explanatory data analysis. When say you are going for presentation now, and you wanted to present your data to your stakeholders or audience, give you a sort of analysis. Histogram is not the best type of chart for that. So histogram majorly what is used for is used in exploratory data analysis to check the distribution of the data, to see how the data is distributed. Is it normally distributed? Is it skewed towards the left? Is it skewed towards the right? Something like that. That's what histogram is used for, to check the distribution of your data. So in that, let's see how can we now plot histograms in Python using matplotlib. First of all, I have to create a data that I'm going to be using for the histogram. So let me just create a data one is equal to sample. One from 100. So samples. This one is 100. Okay. Let me try something here. Coming on that. Okay, let me just create 100 here. So later on, so for me to plot, okay, now histogram now. So the function for histogram is what plt dot east. So plt dot east. If I put in my data, what data one that I've already created now and run this, okay, bin size. So shoot down. Okay, so let me see. Cool. Now, let me try something else. One. So wait, so I'm just trying to create a data here that we can use for this.
It's time to go.
Let me just use this. Random dots. Sample. Okay.
What are you doing? Allah is not done.
Okay.
Allah is not done. Set not
Okay. Okay, let's hold on this thing. I'm trying to get this thing. So let's go to Boxplot. Let's try Boxplot now. Boxplot. Should be able to get this. MP random normal. MP random normal. Okay. Let me just use 0,1 100. Okay, now this is an histogram now. So I got something like this. So let me change the bin size to 10 now. Or let me just use the default bin size. So these are histograms now. So what histograms? The information you get from histogram is just, it tends to tell you the distribution of what? of the data, whether the data is what is skewed towards the left or skewed towards the right. And from this, whether the data is bimodal or stuff like that. Those are what statistical words function. We're not going to that now. So this is the function for creating what? Creating an histogram in Python. And majorly, if you want to create an histogram in Python, let's say you are working with the data now, and probably you're working with age. There's a particular column your data frame as the age. So you want to see the distribution of the age of the data you are working with. You can easily use histogram to plot to see the distribution of the age. Yes. Use a histogram to see the distribution of the age. And probably let's say you wanted to see the different type of numerical data. And one thing about histograms there, histograms takes in was just a numeric data. So if you want to plot the distribution of anything, it has to be It has to be numeric data. So that's about histogram. The next one we're talking about now is boxplots. Boxplots. I don't know whether you've heard of boxplot before. Have you heard of boxplot before? Hello. Are you with me?
No, sir.
Yeah, boxplot is also a type of chart. It's used for exploratory data analysis too. It's also used for exploratory data analysis, just like histograms. But one thing about boxplot is that it tends to give you more information like the mean, the median, interquartile range, and stuff like that. So when you get to that's the statistical part of data analysis actually. The statistical data analysis, that's when you use histograms. So boxplot. So how do you create a boxplot in how to create a boxplot in Python? So the function is BLT. First of all, let me create the data for my boxplot first. So I want to create the data for my boxplot. So let me say that one is data 1, right? So let me say this one is just data. Is equal to let's use list comprehension now. MP dot random dot normal. Okay. 0 50 100. Where's the range? So 1,4. So that's about that. Let me run this. So I create my data. So if I say plt dot boxplots, plt dot boxplot. So I put in the variable. Let's say let me put in my data now. You can see my box plots here now. Let me suppress this. This is an example of box plots. Box plots tend to give information about the distribution of data and many more. I get me now. So give you the distribution. Let's say I want to see the distribution of the age according to the agenda now. If I want to see the distribution of age of, let's say, a participant according to the agenda, Boxplot is an appropriate chart for that. And you see now, for example, now I'm trying to create a Boxplot for three different categories, 1, 2, 3. So it's showing me the Boxplot. So the first one is the minimum value. The tail here is the first tail is the tail here is the minimum value, represent the minimum value. Why the tail here represents maximum value. Whenever you see dot, this dot represent outliers, while this one represents the medians of the value. And that's more statistical thing. So, and that's how to create boxplot. So if you want to set the fixed size for this one now, let's say I want to increase the fixed size now. I can increase the fixed size. Let's say PFT dot figure. So fixed size is equal to 2 per year now. 12,6. So you can see now. That's an example of box plot. Okay, and we can also set the axis title for this. Let me just come here. Let's say plt dot what? Plt dot set underscore x label, sorry. X label, you put your x label in what, in code. Let's say x label is the values. Let me just give you that. You can give it any name you want. So the y label, no. Let's say the x is a category. Let me give it category. Plt dot y label is values. No, it has to be in code. Title plt dot title. Okay, box. Cool. And there you go. So that's how to do that now. So now these are different ways of creating what? Plots. Now, different type of plots using the functional method. So let's just try this plot that we've gone through so far. Let's see how we can create it using the object-oriented method in matplotlib. So for this one, for the object-oriented method, let's say I just come in and say fig is equal to, this is just a single plot now. I'm just using the object-oriented method using what, a single plot. So I just say plt dot what, dot figure. Plt dot figure. So I'll create the axis. So fig dot add underscore axis. So now, so the axis is going to take in what, a list, and the first one, like I said, represents what, the left, the bottom, the width, and the what, the height. So let's say this one is 0.1, and the range of it has to be between what, 0 and 1, like I said earlier. 0.1. Another one is 0.1 for the bottom. So for the width, let me just use 0.9, and for the height, let me use 0.8. So, okay, so I have to name this one axis is equal to. So for this axis now, if I wanted to add a what, axis dot bar. Use the bar. So let's use the data that we have for the bar below, right? So we have Libra and Z. Let's use that Libra and Z too. Okay. Comma Z. And you can see now. So this is usually what's the object-oriented method in creating visualization. Object-oriented method. And I can also like what state the size here. So increase the size, there's fixed size is equal to, okay, total now. Let's say 15 by, let's say 5. And we go. So that's the next. So if I want to create multiplots now the next one I want to talk about now is how to create a multiplot on what, on a single canvas. To create multiplots on a single canvas, and we are using the same method. Like let's say for the first multiplot, I want to add a bar chart, and for the second, I want to add probably a line chart. So let's call me fig, comma axis. I get him to pump back into like we did earlier. So fig, comma, axis. So I was a PLT dot what? Dot subplot. So I'll state the number of what? Number of rows that I want. Let's say in this case, I want 1 rows and 2 columns. I get it now. So after that, doing that, so I'll call the first axis of the chart, the first what? The first plot axis. So I tend to like subset it out using what index 0. So for this one, let's say I want to use bar as a bar chart now. So bar chart I'm still using my Z. No, sorry, label comma Z. So for the other one, axis, let's say I wanted to do line chart for that one. So axis 1. So let's say that one is just ordinary plot. That's line chart. So I'll put X comma Y. So we have an arrow here. Stakes 3 positional. Okay, let's see. The ring is yes. So we miss the S in the subplot. So this is it now. I can see now. So I created two charts on a single canvas. Multiplot. So if I want to increase this one to, let's say, if I want to get, what I mean by the 1 row and 2 columns is this. You see that the 2 charts are on the same row. I get it now. Each chart represents a different columns. So if I change this one to let's say 1 by 3 now, so that means I have to add the 3rd chart. Let's say axis. And the indexing of Python is start from 0. The indexing in Python starts from 0. So that's why I'm using 0, 1, 2. So I use 2 now. Plots. So let me see the type of chart that I can put here. Let me just put line chart too. But let me change the color in this case. Say X comma Y. I'm changing the color to red now. For this. And you see now. 1 by 3. So I can change the figure size too, just to like make it bigger. So what I need to do is just put another parameter, a fig size is equal to 16 by 4. So the 16 is for what? Is for the width of the figure, while the 4 is for the what? For the height. So if I run this now, you see what I get. It has increased the figure size and it still creates a multiplot for me on the same canvas. I get it, man. This is like a 1 by 3. Like we have all the charts on a single row. Each chart represents a column. That's why I have 1 by 3. That's why I was able to plot 3 charts. So if I want to change it now, if I change something like, let's say 2 by 2 now, see what we are going to get for 2 by 2. Let's change this thing to 2 by 2 chart, 2, 2. That means 2 rows and 2 columns. Let's just use that same size. So in this case now I have to read AX. So if I run this now, so attributes back. Sorry, let me put it to 1 by 2 back. Just a minute. I'm trying out something here now. Okay. Okay, so say let's change this one to 1. 1 by 1. Let's just into 1 by 2. Okay. This column sign here. Okay, that's okay. Okay, I'm just trying to see how I can do the multiplots for now. That's not working. But let's just change this one to what? 1 by 2. 1 by 2 now. So index it out by the column bar. So label, comma z, close it, close the brackets. Like this, comma, no, 1. Subplot x, comma y. So, okay now. The next thing I want to do now is like we want to add add the axis label, the y label and x label, and add the title like we did the other time. So you know what to do for that one. So let me just give you some spaces. So to add the axis label, I'm going to use axis, the first one which is 0, dot set x underscore what? X underscore label. X underscore label. So if I run this now, let me put, what should I put? Let me just put category for the X label. Category. So for this one, just a minute. Okay, now sorry. So axis. Same axis now, which 0 dot set y label, y underscore label. That's function to set in the y label. Let me put y label values. Okay, no, sorry, they have to be in quotes. The name has to be in quotes. And that. The name has to be in quotes. So here too, put it in quotes. So let me add the title to axis. So axis dot set underscore title. I'll give some bar. Let's give some bar because I know this is bar. So for the other one, we can also set the chart area. So what I need to do just axis to brackets 1 now, square brackets dot set underscore x label. X label. Let me give this one let's just put it x, capital letter x. So the x has to be equals x. So for the other one now, for the y label is this 1 set label. So in this case, let me just use, let's call it y also. set axis. Let's go title. So this one I'm going to call it as a line chart now. Let me just give it line underscore chart. Now let's go charts. So let's check our code. Let's go charts. So let's see that. So if I run that now, there's something wrong. Method object is not. Sorry, we use square brackets instead of what? Instead of parentheses. So that's why it's giving the error. And there you go. So now we label our what? The two plots. Giving the what? The x axis name and y axis name. And that's how to do that. So what you need to do, you can also play around. Yeah, and one thing I want to say is that let's say, for example, now you're trying to like plot multiple plots on a single canvas, and let's say if the plots are overlapping on each other, so there's something there's a code here that's plt dot title underscore layout. So if the charts are overlapping, you can just run plt dot title layout. It's going to it's losing the two charts from each other. So I can see the chart very, 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 very well. So around that one, since my charts are not overlapping here, so it doesn't really matter much. So that's about that. Now let's see what else we have here. Okay. I can also iterate over the plots, like I was doing the other time here. So if I try something like this, see now, fig, let me try this figure again. Fig, comma. Let's say I want to apply the same chart, the same type of chart on all the multiple plots I have there. So instead of doing one after the other, I can just iterate over it using the for loop. So what I need to do just a fig axis. So let me just copy this one, what I did here. So let me copy this. If I paste this now, so I said for EX in axis, for EX in axis, you can say EX dot plot X, comma Y. You can see now, it iterate over the axis that I have there and apply line chart to it. That's if you wanted to apply the same chart on the different multiple plots that you have. Instead of doing one after the other, and just look through it, iterate through the axis and apply the plots once and for all. Same thing if I have the 2x2 here also. Let's say 2 rows, 2 columns. Let's just use the same thing now also. Okay, so okay. Why is this thing not working? Into the 3. So you see now for a 1x3, still you can just add the same chart on every one of them. And if I don't want line chart, I can also use word bar here also. The brackets label. Comma Z. Sorry, it's labeled. It's not labels. It's label that created. And you can see now it applies the same chart on all the 3 plots. So that's why I take it over multiple subplots. Do you understand now? Do you get it now? Hello. Are we there? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me, please? I want you to respond if you can hear me. It's like you don't really have much people online now. Okay. I can go yes here. So that's that about that. So do we understand how to create charts in Matplotlib using the functional method and object-oriented method now? Okay, I can hear the yes here. So let's proceed. We'll soon round up now. So there's other thing I want to talk about. So today is just like introducing us to Matplotlib and how to do some basic plots in Matplotlib. So that's what we are going to be doing today. So now I want to like go back to my line chart the other time. Now I want to talk about how to format a line chart in Matplotlib. How to format a line chart in Matplotlib. So those are the different ways of creating charts in Matplotlib. We have a scatter plot, we have the line charts, we have the bar charts, we have the box plots, we have the histograms and the likes. So, and one thing about charts, one thing about creating chart is not, it's just not about you having what, let's say you wanted to like represent an information now. It's not about you just picking a chart for any data. You have to study the data very, very well, the type of data that you want, and you have to choose the appropriate type of chart for it. For example, I can't use a line chart when I'm supposed to use a bar chart. Yes, what it's not giving the audience the right information. So you have to know the type of charts, the type of the information you're trying to pass across to determine the type of chart you have to use. So, and the bar charts, whenever you're trying to like compare between different categorical data, now that's when you use the word. That's when you use a bar chart. You can use the horizontal bar chart. You can use the vertical bar chart. When you're trying to measure the correlation between two variables, two numerical variables, x and y, that's when you use what? That's when you use what's it called? Scatter plots. And we have pie charts. You are trying to see the percentage of the proportion of the particular categories. When every one of them is up to 100, that's when you use what? Use a pie chart. So you are trying to check the distribution of the data. That's when you use what? That's when you use histograms and box plots. So on line charts, when you're trying to see the trend of a particular variable over time, when I mean time, it can be over minutes, seconds, it can be weeks, it can be months, it can be years. That's when you use what? That's when you use line charts. Line charts tend to measure the trend over a period of time. So now I said I wanted to see before we round up, let's see how to format line charts. Different way to format a line chart in Matplotlib. So let me get this code here. Let's use this. Copy. Okay, let me go with the functional method. I think that will be. Let me go with the functional method. Figure to the figure. So I come here PLT plots. So I put in my X, comma Y. You see what I get now. And I said something about some arguments in this plot function. We have different type of argument there. We have the color. The color, that's when I put a red. So whenever I put a letter like this, it inverts with the color. Or you can also do something like this. I think there's a parameter name for it. Let me check. Okay. Go to those plots. Okay. So color now, I've changed it to red. It's a marker now. I'm trying to use marker. So let me just use this now. Okay. Matlab. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. Marker. Okay. It's not get it. Oh, that's marker style. Let me use that one here.
On that one.
Okay, now. So you can see my marker now. If I want to change the marker of different points, I can use asterisk. So if I use asterisk now for the marker, you can see the asterisk in in the line plot. You can change the marker size. You can change the marker size. You can change the marker size is equal to, let me just put it as 4. So the marker size has increased now. So if I can change to 10. I get me. That's how to add the marker to your line chart. And we also have something known as alpha. Alpha determines its okay. Sorry, just a minute. Alpha is for adjusting the transparency of your chart. So adjust the transparency of your chart. So if I use alpha is equal to 0.5 now, you can see the chart is more transparent. So if I increase this one to like 0.9, so the transparency. Okay, let me just 0.1. You can see it's very good transparent. So now another thing we can also do is the line width. Let me increase the marker to let me just put it at 0.9. So you can play around the alpha, you can play around the marker size and see try different marker size and see what it's going to give you. Now the next thing I want to talk about now is line width. I can adjust the line width here too. Let's say the line width I have here, I'm not really comfortable with it. If I want to increase the line width to like let's say 4 now. See now, you see how thick the line is. So the higher the number, the thicker the lines that you have. So if I increase it to like 6 now, see now, and like that, if I put it like say 100 now, see that will be very thick. See my chart. So you can adjust the line width. Let me just put this one back to like 1 now. So we have the line style too. The short form to line style is LS. So LS is equal to let me use this dash now. You can see line this one is let me just put should. So that's line style. So you can change your line style to different style that you want. I think we have a step 1 also. So those are the arguments in the words in the plot functions. Those are the different types of argument that we have in the words in the plot functions. So I think that's all about how to create basic plots in matplotlib. These are just basic plots. We are just introducing you to how to create basic plots. So in the other class, we'll be talking about how to decify these plots, and also we'll be introducing different type of plots, different type of library in Python to create different plots, to create amazing and very, very beautiful charts. So that'll be all for now. Any questions? Any question at all? Any question? Any question? We're rounding up now. Any question? No, okay. Hope we understand what we've gone through today. Do you understand? Do you understand what we've gone through? Everything. Can you plot a chart in matplotlib now on your own? All right. Okay. I got that. So in the subsequent classes, we'll be using data frames, because that's what we'll be using in real life. So we'll be plotting using data. So we're using data frames, and in the subsequent class, we're talking how to beautify these charts. So what we are doing today is just like introduction to basic charts in matplotlib. So in the subsequent class, we're talking how to beautify these charts. And there's some other library in Python that is also used for data visualization. We'll be talking about that too. So if there's no question, the absence of any question, so that will be all for today. Thank you so much for your time. Do have a lovely, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much. All right, bye.